Welcome everyone to our brand new version of Power Talks with Powerful Women Today. We switched the video by requests. You requested, here we are. So we have a great panel for you today, speaking about the transition between employee to self-employed. And by the way, that can happen while you're still working within your corporate job. So let's get started.
Empowering women on a global scale. Welcome to Powerful Women Today with Carolina Billings. Powerful Women Today is on a mission of inclusion, rewriting his story to include her story, and empowering, raising, and amplifying women's voices with professional speaking, publishing, original podcasting, and web TV. And now here's your host, the founder of Powerful Women Today, Carolina Billings.
Wonderful. Thank you, everyone. We have an exciting panel on a hot topic today. We have with us Liz Wendling, who is an expert, and she'll introduce herself, but I'll just tell you how great I think they all are. So this specializes in selling professional service, which a lot of people transitioning from executive C-suite, kind of knowledge type of work from corporate to entrepreneurship go under that category. We have Minnie McManus, who is a executive coach and leadership consultant, and she's here to share her journey. And of course, Stacey Hall, who specializes in engagement marketing, making sure that you monetize your message, and all kinds of things. So we're going to get started. So ladies, if you could introduce yourself. This session is interactive. So people, all of our audience, all the people watching get to ask questions. And then you get the beauty. I'm telling you, this is like over $1,000 an hour worth of consulting and coaching fees that you get to ask the experts. So Liz, we'll start. Liz, Wendy, Stacey, if you could please introduce yourself and answer one question for our audience. How long ago did you leave your corporate life?
All right. Well, I am Liz Wendling. I'm a sales strategist and business coach and the author of The Heart of Authentic Selling and Sell Without Selling Your Soul. And I left corporate 14 years ago. Actually, I got kicked out because the economy was in the tank and got laid off. And it was the best day of my life. So since then, I've been working with professionals who love what they do, but they hate to sell. They love their job. They love their business, but they've convinced themselves that no selling is necessary in their business. And they rely on clients falling in their lap, just magically appearing out of thin air. And we
want some of that magic.
Yeah. We all Excellent. Know that's not how sales work. So I tell people, if what you do requires you to have human-to-human conversations with people, you must get the sales part down. Once you do, you write your own paycheck.
Brilliant. Mindy, how about you?
So I'm Mindy McManus, and I am an executive coach, and I am also a leadership consultant. I have my master's in leadership and organization development. And so what I specialize in is helping people grow into leadership positions, helping the C-suite elevate their leadership so that they can then elevate the leadership of the rest of the C-suite that they're working with. So you can have maximum engagement, maximum accountability, maximum output and performance. And so working with a lot of people in the C-suite, but then also women physicians are also one of the areas that I have a special heart for. I work with a lot of them in the healthcare industry right now, and that's something that I specialize in my practice, in my coaching practice, in my business. So I am still working in the corporate world. I have just gone from a full-time employee to a 0.8. So that is amazing. So that way, I'm still able to continue to grow the business and still give back to the organization that I've been with for so long. So that's me.
Brilliant. Thank you. How about you, Stacey?
Well, these days, what I love to do is help women entrepreneurs monetize their message, which means becoming a wisdompreneur, very much understanding all the different ways that they can make a difference from others on various platforms and actually make a lot more money than they've ever made before. And I have I'm very happy to say that I've been out of the corporate world for about 25 years. So some
Oh,
people might say,
wow.
what is she going to talk about? Well, I still support the corporate world. I still
That's
have
right.
clients in the corporate world, of course. I turned my last job into my first client and never looked back. So I would love to share some strategies on how to prepare to leave and not just, thumb our nose. If we have the luxury of being able to leave on our own terms, there is a way to do that. And
Yeah. And
for people
so,
who get kicked out, faster than they expect, there's a way to, bounce back very fast.
yeah. So, loving it. So, my name is Carolina Billings, and I am the founder of Powerful Women Today and your host today. But I also exited corporate. I feel like we're recovering. We're recovering. I'm a former corporate person, like a recovering corporate person. And what I love about the journey, so I'm a former CFO, CHRO, um, accountant with a master's in communication change, conflict resolution, and leadership, and doing my dissertation in marketing and specializing in leveraging the aggregate for all of those lady and gentlemen entrepreneurs. So, needless to say, loving the diversity, right? But we got one thing in common is that all of us exited corporate, whether it was by our own choosing or circumstances. And we can almost name the recession periods when it came to, like Liz, and when it came to Mindy. Mine was not a recession based, I'll tell you my journey. And in your Stacy, of course. So you're leading, the way in your experience as an entrepreneur. But the one thing that I have to tell you is that I am so proud to tell all of our brothers and sisters who are watching, and I'm going to highlight some comments. People already started to check in. Um, to tell you that the day that we left our job, and I left my job fully expecting to get another job and dipping my toe into entrepreneurship as soon as I got the hang of it. And it was as quick as 6 months that I figured out I can do this, never going back, right? It was the greatest day in the long haul. I know it doesn't feel like it when it first just happens, but stick with us. We're going to cover great topics today. And combined, you're talking about 50 years and I don't know how many degrees of knowledge that are sitting with you here today. But I do want to acknowledge our audience. So we have Kathleen saying, Wisdompreneur, love it. And we have Catherine saying hello. And we got Elisa, who is one of our sisters in Powerful Women Today, saying hello. Nice to see you all, ladies. And there's a couple of comments that they're saying hello, but we don't know who they are. So hello. All is good. All is good. So let's speak about leaving corporate in the warm up in the green room. So we're going to get started with this. So in the warm up in the green room, we were speaking about, funny enough, the degree of education that you have or the higher the position that you had in corporate sometimes makes it harder for all the things that you need to unlearn. Did you decide to become a consultant or self-employed,
Mhm.
right? So one of the things that I mentioned, and I love, this is a jumping kind of, conversation. And of course, we're going to get questions from our friends who are watching us live. And we're streaming, by the way, live from LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. So we got a broad, some images come through, otherwise, but anyways, we'll work with what we've got. So I have met, I am one, so I mean no disrespect to PhDs, but I have met more PhDs that in like top C-suite executives that struggle more to land onto entrepreneurship than, essential oils specialist, because the essential oil MLM, and it's not that MLM, hey, listen, we're all for it. It's a great way. It's one of the business models to pursue, right? But they're like chugging along. They know the hustle. They know what they need to do. And it seems like the higher you begin at in the transition, the harder can be. So what are your thoughts on that point?
Anyone?
Let's start with you, since we were already warming up on that topic.
And it's funny because I resemble both, right? I'm not a PhD. It wasn't a PhD. I did have advanced education and high positions in corporate. And the funny part is I knew that I didn't want to treat people when I came out in my own business as a coach. I didn't want to bring with me my corporate management habits, is the best way to say it. So I actually had a coach who helped me prepare how I wanted to be, how I wanted to sell, how I wanted to set up my business. And I worked with that coach for 6 months before I left. And so that's if you have the luxury to do that. Since then, I have coached many people who, funnily enough, actually did leave corporate to be able to be selling essential oils or other things.
Listen, I have met people that are killing it.
Yeah.
Be representing a brand.
But I will say that is, it doesn't matter really what position you're at in the corporate world. It does take a completely different mindset, whether you were a manager or an employee who was managed to be. And I know Liz and Mindy are going to talk about this. We have to be self-directed. That's that's what's missing. As much as we may hate being told what to do in the corporate world, when we come out, there's no one to tell us what to do. So if we don't have a plan and willing to stick to it, there's no way we can grow the business, is what I want to say.
Good point, Stacy. Yeah. And I had the exact same thing happen to me. I was a company's worst nightmare and worst employee because I always had the attitude of, why are we doing it this way? This is so inefficient. Why can't we do it this way? And I was always pushing against and thinking there has to be a better way. Why are we taking the long road? There's a short road right ahead of us. And I realized the thing that got me fired was the thing that helped me in my career.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
Do share.
So all the things that I looked at in my business and thought, oh, I have to learn that. Well, there has to be a quicker way to do that. Or everybody else has taken that course. I'm going to find something different. And I was always zigging when everyone else was zagging. And I was very self-directed and focused. And that's what helped me become an entrepreneur and be successful quickly without, I stumbled a lot in the beginning, but eventually when I got it, that I was calling the shots and I could do things the right way for me, that's when I realized I don't have to listen to anyone anymore, even though, it still happens today, there are people out there screaming from the rooftops, you have to do it my way or you're wrong and you need my script or you're wrong or you need my program or you're wrong. No, you know in your heart what you need and you do it, sky's the limit for you.
And there's no right or wrong. There is right for you.
That's it.
And wrong for you. You know what I mean? It's such a custom experience. So Mindy, your journey, she's my baby. I feel like I've been right from the beginning with Mindy, and it's been extremely, extremely special and rewarding. So tell us your journey, because yours was an interesting one.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I'm at a different point in my journey. Like I'm still with corporate. And so, I'm an executive coach and I was an executive coach in my job, and, COVID hit. I worked in healthcare. So a lot of us were furloughed and things like that. And so I was furloughed. And so for 3 months, I didn't have a job, nor did I have a paycheck. And it was a full-time job just trying to get the what do you call that? The furlough, like the unemployment checks. so that I could still live. And I realized that I needed to have more than one income stream. And thank God I found and met Carolina, because that was at the beginning of my journey when I was like, I need to start my coaching business, which I knew I was going to do when I retired. And I was like, well, might as well go ahead and start it now when I have the time. And so I kind of like you, Stacey, you had a coach, and Carolina and Powerful Women Today, I had a whole cadre of coaches that taught me how to use social media, that taught me how to create what I need to do in LinkedIn and Twitter and all of these other places. I was taught to build a brand, to become a thought leader, to become a thought partner, to be, that superpower woman that Carolina is grooming all of us to be. And so that's my journey has been with Powerful Women Today. And that's how I feel like my business has exponentially grown. I've been able to I've been able to co-author 4 best-selling books. That's huge. Also have my own column in our magazine talking about coaching every quarter. That's stuff that you just don't get. And powerful. And I'm sorry, this is turning into a commercial. I really didn't mean for that. Okay, but
you're speaking from the heart, and we know that.
But it's just if you're a woman and you want to share your voice, this is a place to figure out how you want to share it. Written, verbal, podcasting. I mean, there's all different kinds of ways, and you learn how to do it on your own. And so,
there's a really powerful message from Mindy's story to a lot of women in the tech industry right now, that we have some major name corporations that are cutting back, right? Because that's like the panic button, I have a funny anecdote. When I was in corporate, not my last job, but the previous job before that, I only had 3 jobs in corporate, long term. And we used to have fresh flowers at reception.
Mm-hmm.
And every time there was the slightest little bit of bad news or the slightest little bit of tightening the belt, the president would turn, and the first thing he would want to cut is the flowers in the lobby, right? It's like, dude, it's $25 a month. It's that, trust me, that's not the issue, right? And so the joke is that, times are tough. It's like, those flowers gotta go, right? But there's a lot very smart that Mindy did. And so Mindy works still. She's a professor with one of the assistant professor. Yes, I always promote you.
I know.
Assistant professor, because I love you.
What? I just don't want that out there.
No, I know. Assistant professor of may I say the name of the organization?
The Healthcare Administration at Mayo Clinic.
Yeah, within Mayo Clinic, right? So when she was furloughed, this is not something to give up, right? And just like the people at Twitter or Facebook or, all these major corporations that are cutting back. So what Mindy did is, instead of running to get another job at a lesser known or lesser, developed organization, she started her own business.
Mm-hmm.
Well, lo and behold, because she was a, great performer, she got recalled back, right? So then she got to keep the best of both worlds, still work for a top-notch organization, and still, start her own business, which is now incredibly successful. She's now teaching at universities in addition to that, right? And Stacey did the same thing that was smart, which was she kept her employer as her first client. Talk about hitting the ground running, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I want to go back to a comment that Liz made. And Liz, you said that sorry, I can't remember if it was Liz or Stacey that said it. They said that the one thing that when people come out, that they don't know being told what to do.
Mm-hmm.
So in my opinion, and I'm sure we all have different opinions on it because it's based on what we observe. In my opinion, in coming out of corporate, the first thing that I seem to be catching C-suite and executives and thought leaders is that they don't know how to sell, right? They still see it as a division, right? It's like somehow somebody else is going to do the selling. And also, having the ability, and this is more prevalent in women than men, and there's lots we can learn from our brothers, and we're going to today, or in the course of our working together globally, is self-promotion. Because it's different, promoting self and selling. So in your opinion, I can't remember who said that it was being told what to do. Was it you, Stacy?
Yeah, well, it's both of us, Liz and
Both
I
of you.
both.
Okay. So in your opinion, like if we were to pinpoint, and again, we're having here's a show of support, Mindy. That's amazing. And I do want to acknowledge our listeners. Listen, our audience and our friends and our sisters. This is how we grow. Oh, that's Stacy. That's you sneaking in from the other.
So Jackie Joy's here.
There is, yes, I'm working up the list.
Yeah.
There's a queue to get to the messages, and I love the right for you or wrong for you. And you know what? Developing a thick skin is part of the game, right?
Mhm.
And of course, we're acknowledging our very own Jackie Joy, who specializes in the way YOS and selling from the heart, authenticity, and trust. So, in your opinion, Mindy, what have you observed that is the biggest bridge, the biggest gap that clearly C-suite and executives are good at what they do? Otherwise, they wouldn't have been leadership and executive. What's the biggest gap in hitting the ground running?
So, I've actually worked with several people that have left that area and is wanting to kind of do more outside. And it's helping them to realize that they sell all the time in the C-suite. You have to be influential in the C-suite, but you could also be command and control. So but you also have to be that's influential. You have to be able to sell your ideas to the board, to whoever it is that you need to get permission from. And to get to that point, you would have had to have gone through meeting after meeting. So really, it's not about selling. It's about leveraging your influencing skills. It's about tapping into those skills that helped you to be so professional as a C-suite or as a leader, but then tapping it into how you can also provide that for others. And once you realize that you're not selling, you're providing a gap, something that somebody needs, and that you're providing a service for them. That's when you realize that I'm not selling. I'm actually just, this is the benefits, and this is what I have to offer.
So you want to push back a little on that?
You're right. Yeah. And I was going to support you on that pushback because Liz, you did a post and I'm just going to cue you up and you take it from there.
Okay.
Liz, so I agree because there's the two, it's like if you take a coin of sales, there's two sides to it.
Yes.
So to the public, absolutely, you're solving a problem, you're providing a solution, you're leveraging your branding and expertise. But behind the scenes, Liz did a post that said, "There's no selling without selling."
You can't separate the two. It's like breathing without breathing, or doing accounting without accounting. And I often hear that in the world that, find a program where you could sell without selling. And that sounds nice for people who are afraid to step into their power. And it's a nice little mantra for people who think selling is wrong or sleazy or they shouldn't be doing it. And I call BS on that. It is a skill. I
see it as two sides of the same coin because if you go to, I understand. If you go to the public and say, let's have a sales call, your calendar will be crickets. So on one hand, absolutely, you need to provide you're here to serve, right? Not a servant, but you're here to serve, to provide a solution, to leadership. So from the marketing standpoint, Mindy's got it 100%.
Yes,
but behind the scenes, we, especially women, need to remove the fear from just going out there and know that what you need to do is selling. Your selling is not dirty. Money's not dirty. I always equate money with a car, right? And with a car, you can be taking your family for vacation and creating long lasting memories, or you can go rob a bank.
Right.
So money's not dirty.
Right.
Money's what you do with it.
And
Right?
sales are the only way to stay in business. So if you think that you could stay in business just by going to a networking event and someone's going to hand you a check, you're crazy. So selling me is
Actually,
a
that
skill.
happened to me.
Oh,
So let me tell you. Yes. Yes, I want to wiggle a little room for magic, and this is where Stacy, I think this is
those
where
are
you and
one-offs.
Stacy
That's
and I
not
were
fair.
well,
I'm
really
gonna say
better.
I think I'm more with Liz, but
Yeah,
I
that's a
let me
one-off.
make
Sorry.
Because
That's
so
a
let me
one-off.
tell you. So I quit my job because I made partner, and when I got there, it wasn't what I thought it was going to be.
Mhm.
It was one of those things, as we were great at dating, bad at marriage, right? So one day something happened that I thought, you know what? Whatever my life has come to hasn't come to this. I'm done. Bus driver, this is my stop, right? And I got off thinking, I'll just start another job. At this point, I had already been running Powerful Women Today for almost 5 years as a passion project, right? And literally, I was doing a passion project, not for profit, and I was just like Mindy saying, bringing my solution, bringing the passion, championing people. And somebody literally stood up and said, I'll give you a check for that to continue, right? So it does happen. But what ended up happening after I quit my job, right, was that I intended just to get caught up on my master's, start my PhD in 6 months. Just all I kept saying in my head is, just give me 6 months so I can breathe, right? Between being a single parent, single, household provider, doing masters, all these, I was just spinning. And for anybody that knows me, how much energy I have and how much I can handle, for me to feel like that, you can just imagine the volume that I was dealing with. In those 6 months that I was off, all the people that I had served for 6 years, right? Just out of pure love, pure, wanting a greater good for them, not the greater good, but their greater good. Kept calling me and saying, oh, I hear you're not working. Can you do some coaching? Can you do some consulting? I hit six figures in 6 months. And I thought, I'm not going back, right? Like it's like this is, again, this is where I stay.
But
So sometimes being in a situation where it feels uncertain, right, is the greatest gift that could have happened to you. And I want to turn to Stacy, because part of it, that doesn't mean that I did not go, like, those sales came to me and I took them and I was happy. But when it came to my generating my own, there was still a path for me to unlearn and relearn,
yeah.
which is Stacy's genius in teaching
Okay.
people how to monetize their message.
Well, I appreciate that. And I'm going to get there in a moment. I want to say that it wasn't magic that had these people come to you. And so
Oh.
there is a rule of thumb that I tell everyone who's thinking about leaving. If you have the ability, you save up at least 3 to 6 months of income
Mhm.
that you can live on. If you're going out and you have absolutely no clients, no potential right at the beginning, because desperation gets in the way of building the relationships, as Mindy said. And what Mindy was talking about was marketing. And Carolina, you were marketing for all those years. You didn't need to offer something for them to buy from you directly.
Mhm.
So you had 6 years of building relationship, which is what
Building a
marketing
personal
is.
brand,
That's
which is what we
exactly it.
recommend people. Yeah.
Consistency, dependability, that is what all relationships are built on. So when it comes time to make an offer, people are already like, wow, yeah, okay, I love you. Of course I want what you want. So that's how we can make it easier to sell, right?
Mhm.
The wisdompreneur aspect, and thank you to somebody who said that they love the term. I didn't create it. It's been out there. It just doesn't get used enough, is where we recognize that the very knowledge, experience, information that we have here and here has value to it, of a monetary nature.
That's right.
This is why, so in the corporate world, we're not really incentivized to share our wisdom. We're incentivized to follow the group wisdom.
Yeah.
Leaving corporate requires us, if there's something to undo, it's to embrace all our own experience, all the training we've invested in, all the ways, like Liz said, she was, me too, I was a horrible employee because I was always seeing things that could be done better. I thought that was what I was supposed to do as an employee.
Everyone wants a disruptor and an innovator until they get one.
Until they get one. Exactly.
In
So I'm
corporate,
going to
right?
just end this really quickly to everyone is understand the worth of who you are. Once you understand that, it makes it much easier to then say, instead of, oh, I'll just help you. Oh, I'll just give this to you. Oh, I'll give you a 1 hour free consultation. Really? 1 hour? How much did you just give up then? Because
That's
if we
right.
don't value what we have, no one else will value it. And that's where Liz says, no business, no sales.
Think if you had a restaurant, would you let everybody just come and eat for free, right? So we're going to read some feedback and some questions. So we
Great.
got a 100%, yes, hitting the mark. We got an amen, sister, yes.
I knew that, Jackie.
We got my favorite part of sales is focusing on discovering current state versus desired state. Ooh, that's interesting. I would like to find out more about that.
You need both.
And selling is educating them. Absolutely. Yes. What it's like coaching as a sales communication, right? Like,
But-
you want your every contact that people have with you to be an exceptional experience for them.
That's what people
And
want.
that's where getting your coaching skills really pays off. Really, really pays off.
Carolina,
We
I
got,
have to touch
sorry,
on
just
this.
last one. There's
Okay.
an absolutely, Mindy, but in healthcare, we are conditioned not to sell. Ooh.
You're
Okay,
conditioned
two
not
things.
to use those words.
Right.
Yeah.
But when you're talking to a patient and you're trying to get them to engage in a diagnosis and how to help themselves, you're selling.
Yes. You're getting the buy-in.
Yeah.
You're
Right?
trying to get
Yeah.
the buy-in.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
We have to be careful with the language we use, that selling is helping, selling is serving, selling is listening, selling is sharing, selling is educating. Yes, it's all of that. But when I hear people,
It's also selling.
yeah, it's also selling. But they use those terms to diminish the help and the activity and the process of helping someone make a good buying decision.
Yeah. It's because
Well,
sales has gotten such a bad rap through the years,
And
though.
it's because
That's
of people
part of
who
it.
are bad sellers. That's why.
Mhm.
It's
Yes.
bad selling that gives people that. There's
And you know what? You bring in an incredible point, because consultants in solopreneurs and coaches and anybody who's self-directed is them. You are selling your knowledge, just like Stacy said. We're selling all those years of education. We're selling all those years of training, your practicum, all of it. We're buying from large corporations. You're getting somebody whose job is to just sell. Right? Do you see the difference? And they're just representing a third party, right? They don't control the entire ecosystem. So you may fall in love with your salesperson, but your entire experience after that is not the same. We're dealing with consultants, entrepreneurs, anybody in the gig economy, any knowledge worker. Right? Which sounds kind of funky. But anyways, any knowledge worker is you're getting the whole deal. You're getting the passion, you're getting the drive, you're getting the knowledge. It's almost like getting white glove, like couture.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there's a lot of value, that needs to be placed on doing business, especially with women, because usually women tend to support a whole ecosystem going from there. So it's a little plug for women. But is really in appreciating what they have to offer and being respectful both ways. Right? Now, Stacy touched on something that is, and we're going to talk on a couple of points that we're hoping to share with you so that you avoid them and you learn, faster and better than we had to do it. And if we got a comment. Wow, you're describing me. Yes, I think we all could describe each other with the same pain points in the learning process. Stacy says something really, really, really powerful. When you are offering a discovery session, and we had this conversation earlier in a mastermind that we were doing within Powerful Women Today, that we said, remove the energy from free, because nothing you do is free. It's an investment, right? If you are choosing to offer discovery sessions, this is your time. This is opportunity cost. You could be doing other things with this time that perhaps are earning money, but this is to lead and to get clients. That's part of prospecting, right? So you are investing, but it's not as simple as simply offering your calendar at large, because you'll end up with bookings from now until December, and all they are tire kickers. So Stacy, you are extremely good, because by the way, a Powerful Women Today, part of it, we offer so much, but part of it is peer mentorship. So we're learning from each other, right? And because we're all brilliant at something, and we're just here to bring all of our gifts to the table. So you are really good at that. So what are some wisdom that you can give pertaining to that?
Well, okay, so not giving away our time and our energy and our wisdom, I would say anything that let me put it this way. I don't give away more than 15 minutes. And 15 minutes may not seem like a long time, but if we give people any more than that, we are literally getting into coaching. Instead of identifying their areas where they could use support and letting them know what we have that could help with that, and then finding out if they're ready to move forward. Only takes 15 minutes for that. Anything more than that should be paid for. And I don't usually use the word should, as Carolina knows.
Ought to.
Yes. But I'm saying, because there's no hard and fast. However, I've been doing this for a long time. If we're prepared to ask the questions, that will help us identify if somebody is the right fit for us. See, too often in the beginning, this is why I said we cannot be desperate. What happens is somebody comes along that's a prospect, and we're like, oh my God, we're hungry and it's a big piece of meat. Sitting back and saying, so explain to me, what are you looking for? What issues do you have? What problems? This is how we're serving as well, helping them pull out of them what they're going to need help with. Then being able to say, okay, so I hear this is the gap between where you are and where you want to be. And this is what I have to be able to close that gap. Or I hear that's what you want to have closed as your gap. That is not me, but I can refer you to somebody.
Yeah. Even asking that question is coaching, really. Just you helping them gain clarity, right? Mindy,
Yes.
how do you edit, or how do you pre-qualify? That's a better word. How do you pre-qualify your coaching prospects or your clients? Sorry.
So, well, gosh, that's a good question. I'm a little bit different than Stacy. I do offer 30 minutes, just because the niche that I am looking to work with, which is women physicians, they have no idea what coaching is, how it can help them. It's very they haven't been able to be exposed, but I can't even talk. Exposed. So I also work with the American Medical Women's Association, and I'm on their coaching committee. And part of what we do is we offer is to offer some free coaching there, so that we can help women physicians see the benefits of it. And they've actually, part of their leadership development program, have made coaching a requirement that goes with their leadership development for the women physicians. And they have seen, because their first cohort, some did get coaches, some didn't. the exponential learning that happened with the addition of the coaching, the one-on-one coaching, was so much more that they made it required a part of that program. And so for me, because of the niche and the people that I want to work with, which is women physicians, and helping them to become leaders, because I fully believe the more women that we can get into leadership positions in healthcare, the better healthcare will be, just so that we can have more diversity of thought. And that means women and minorities.
The more
But,
women we can get in any leadership is a better world. But you know what? If for you, what I'm hearing is they're really warm leads because you've already niched it down so much, right? Stacy was almost speaking of the first contact, right? In trying to discern that. And in yeah, interesting, because I also have different blocks depending whether somebody's is a cold, in my business works a little bit differently. Almost 100% of my is inbound, so I'm not doing a lot of outreach. But there is a methodology for the time, right? A cold call, absolutely 15 minutes. Somebody that's a warm lead, maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Somebody who's already a referral or something, I have up to 45 minutes. Somebody that I know will become one of our mentor experts, and it comes referred, because the only way into Powerful Women today is to be sponsored by someone. So if somebody has already made the introduction, of course they're going to get 45 minutes out of courtesy to both, right? The member and the person being referred into the program. So Liz, how do you do yours?
So we are 4 women who do it 4 different ways, and I like
so
to
we
see
should.
that.
And so we should.
I do 30 minutes. That's usually a good start. Anything less than that for me, I don't feel like I'm doing someone a real good service, because I want to dig into what is truly happening now that has caused them to reach out to me. If I don't know what's happening, I can't get them to where they want to go. So I do take a lot more time to uncover what's really going on, not just what you tell me is going on. I have a really good ear to hear what's really going on. So then I can speak to that, like somebody mentioned in the chat, that desired state. We have to know their current state in order to help them get to their desired state. But I also want to know what it's costing them, monetarily, emotionally, spiritually. How are they sleeping? How are they feeling? There's an impact, and it's happening somewhere.
What a great question. Yeah.
And I need to know that. So for me to help someone make a really good, confident buying decision, or for me to confidently be able to refer them, I need to know them a little more. So I never put a time limit on it, although I do let them know we have about 30 minutes. And if for some reason it looks like we need another phone call or we need to do something else, I want to wrap it up, because I don't want someone to think we're going to be on the phone for 2 hours. I did that a long time ago. No more.
I want to acknowledge our PWT colleague, Dr. McGill. Sales is about connecting.
Yes.
In her PhD is in emotional intelligence. So she's coming on our show later in the month. You definitely want to hear.
No connection, no sales. So
that's right.
I agree with her for sure.
But Carolina, what I would say is uniquely different amongst all of us. So I didn't clarify this. I have a step through sales process. From that 15-minute, I'm giving them something kind of low cost, which means they don't have to have a lot of trust in me.
That's right. Yeah.
But I believe,
the path
Liz,
is different.
you don't have that. You have a big ticket, and big tickets
would require
more trust building, more connection, all of that. So I wanted to
absolutely. Listen, I've known people, and again, right? We go back to a comment we did before, and this is where, as a world, when we speak of diversity, we're not just speaking skin color. We're speaking that there's so many beautiful ways to arrive at our chosen destination, right? So it's whatever works for you. Because I've known a lady who's, and by the way, all of us here in this panel, and I don't mean it as a bragging point, we're all extremely successful. So I know whatever they're saying is working. It's working for them, for us, for all of us. But I've known professionals that before they can even get to the 15 minutes, they need to fill out a form. who you are, what you do, what's your, give me your LinkedIn. Like I like my time, but these are people that are charging, $25,000 to
Mhm.
work with them. Right. So it's like, unless, and it's not even the coach that is doing the pre-qualified, is somebody else. Like, it does get to the point as you get busier and busier and busier, that you need to be very selective, right? And in desperation, by the way, is people can smell it. If there's a hint of
Mhm.
desperation, people can smell it, and that's a good way for you to end up being treated as a servant, or for people to take advantage,
Right.
right? And that happens a lot, because with women, and I know we have some brothers in the audience, but with women, most women, not all, again, because nothing's global, right? A global statement. Most women, power and money are not the primary drive. It's usually some kind of wanting to right or wrong, some desire to celebrate, to empower others, to do somebody else's you know greatness, right? I'm not saying all. I saw the eye roll there, Stacy. I'm saying not all. Um, so it's easy to get caught up in the giving without the proper compensation, right? And their heart's in the
That's
right place. And you know what? When you're busy and you have your bills covered and you're taken care of, not from a selfish, but
mhm.
from a survival, sustainability, and self-worth, then you can always earmark a couple of hours for
Mhm.
free. You
Yes.
can always earmark some kind of altruism, because it comes, and that's not why you do it, but it comes back to you tenfold, right? So I want to move on a little bit, because I'm keeping an eye on everything. Good thing I I have ADHD, so I can like keep an eye on a million things at the same time. um so so you think you want to quit your job. So there's a book that I highly recommended. I think it's still in print, because my child is a young adult now, that used to be called the 18 months pregnancy, which meant you
Yes.
began to treat yourself. I know it's like you're an elephant, but you begin to treat yourself as pregnant in your body 6 months before you're actually planning conception, right? So that everything is squeaky clean by the time you begin. So you think you're going to quit your job, or you're seeing the writing on the wall, right? What are some things that people can do to get that seed planted, so that when and if the time comes to pull the latch, right? You, just going smooth, or this is not never going to be silky smooth. I'm not going to lie to you, but it's going to be as smooth as possible. So I'll kick the ball, because this is something, with my background in HR and leadership, I have to tell you, my wish for the world that's still in corporate, or that are looking for a job in corporate, or anything for that matter, is stop. The word resume should be retired. Is all about a portfolio.
Mhm.
Don't tell me, show me. Show me where you have leadership. Show me where you're leading a thought leader, where you got following, where you have an audience, where you've spoken at comfort. Like, show me. So if you have a resume and you're looking for a job, retire it. People are getting hundreds of resumes per
Mhm.
position. Show them something they're not expecting, like a portfolio. I'm an accountant. I'm going to give you a portfolio. They're not expecting that. I can assure you that. Right. And it's all about that. So what would each one of you respectively, and we're going to talk more about the resume to portfolio in upcoming sessions.
Mhm.
By the way, we are through the month of March. We meet every Tuesday at 7. Starting April, we're switching to Wednesdays at 7 and staying on Wednesday forever. But just remember, it's a date, 7 Eastern, Tuesdays in March. After that, Wednesdays. So from each one of you respectively, what is the one thing that you wish people begin to prepare energetically, mentally, all of it. Mindy, if you want to get us started.
I don't want to start that one. I'm just kidding. Um, no, I think for me, and what helped me was joining a group of women and powerful women today. That's what helped me. That's what helped me to figure out what I needed to do and how to do it, because everybody thinks they're just going to put up a little sign and hang out their LinkedIn sign and said, hey, I'm open for business, and people are going to start calling you. That's not how that is. But it is how many times Carolina has put me on LinkedIn that has reminded people that they knew me from 10 years ago. Oh, Mindy, let me bring them in because I've been marketed so much by PWT. And so for me, have that plan. Start getting into a Powerful Women Today or something like that where you are surrounded by experts that have done what you want to do, that are willing to mentor you, where you can get connected and you can actually start to build your business within that business itself. And so that's what I would say, because
don't go at it alone. That's the whole point of leveraging the aggregate. Because it's tough out there.
Yeah,
thank you. It requires either a lot of cash or an unnecessary amount of work. It doesn't have to be that complicated. Stacy and Lizzie.
I'm going to say I'm with Mindy. You want to surround yourself with people who have done it. So I would say if you can't afford a coach, then probably don't want to go out on your own, but get a coach, get into a mastermind group, a networking group, because they say the loneliest job of all is being an entrepreneur. And it's too easy to spend too much time up here when we're all by ourselves than in a group where you can get it out, you can ask questions, you can get support. Surround yourself with people who can keep you moving forward.
Yep. And you know what? If you want to think, if you want somebody to tell you you can accomplish anything, that's Carolina. Yeah. There are things that I have accomplished.
I'm not paying her to say all of this.
No, you haven't, but it's just that's my journey. But I've done things that I never thought that I would have accomplished. Never thought I would be in a best-selling book, like be a best-selling author. Like, what?
It's fun. You know what? Because we push each other. Because we push, I never thought I publish a magazine or we became a publishing house or do all the incredible things we do, but because we do them together, right? We keep just pushing the limit and pushing the limit. And so we should. So I just want to acknowledge, Liz, you're going to close the show for us. But I do want to acknowledge some comments that are coming in. So love that. Surround yourself with like-minded individuals. Absolutely. And then we have exactly what I'm looking for. Thanks, Mindy. So yes, Liz, so you take us from here.
All right.
Drum roll, please.
Okay. All right. This might be very counterintuitive, but I would tell people to stop the doing. Gotta run, gotta follow up, gotta get into all these groups, and first figure out who you are being. Who do you want to be when you make that move? What kind of woman do you want to be? What kind of human being do you want to put out in the world? Not one that's frantic, scared, worried, is dreading. Get a hold of who that woman is internally. And once you know it and you deeply know it, that's your core and that's where you move from. And everything you do comes from that place to allow you to move. And that's where you start attracting the right people. You fall into groups like this because of who you're being, not because of all the running around you're doing. So stop, pause, who am I being, and then go into the doing.
Really? We could not say it better. So thank you, everybody. Thank you for our colleagues that came to support us. Thank you for all of our audience for your questions. And ladies, your generosity is beyond brilliant. Be on the lookout, powerfulwomentoday.com. You can connect with all of our mentor experts. There's, there's a section called Power Up where many of our mentor experts, we just began to roll them out. They're all giving samples. They're all giving their book. They're so generous. And of course, our new issue of Powerful Women Today magazine, hint, hint, is coming out. The spring issue is coming out in 2-3 weeks. So in the December issue, the winter issue is on the website. So powerfulwomentoday.com. Thank you, everyone. And have an incredible, incredible week. Thank
Bye.
you.
Empowering women on a global scale. This has been Powerful Women Today with Carolina Billings. To learn more about how you can join and transform your life and the lives of women everywhere with professional speaking, publishing, podcasting, and web TV, visit powerfulwomentoday.com. Remember to subscribe to this podcast on iTunes, YouTube, or wherever you like to listen and watch your podcasts.